Now that we have our definitions, let's describe how to evaluate a variable expression. To evaluate a variable expression, we do two things. First, replace each variable with the number it represents. Replace each variable with the number it represents. Then, the second step is follow the order of operations to simplify the result. Follow the order of operations to simplify the result. To evaluate a variable expression, first, replace each variable with the number it represents. Second, follow the order of operations to simplify the result. Let's look at several examples. Let's start with the expression. Evaluate in parentheses b subtract 2a, close the parentheses, exponent 2, all over 6 when a is equal to 4 and b is equal to -5. Evaluate b minus 2a quantity squared over 6 when a is equal to 4 and b is equal to -5. Notice that in this expression we have two variables, first b, then a, and in order to work this problem we must have values given for both of these. So let's do the evaluation. We've got to replace the b with what it represents and the a with what it represents. So let's write the form that will receive our replacements. This is very important. I highly recommend that you write this form. Let me put a star beside it to remind you that this is something really important for you to write down. We have the number b, which is going to be filled in by its value, then the subtraction sign, then 2, then right beside it the a, which will be replaced by its value. The entire numerator expression is to be raised to the second power. So I've put brackets around the numerator to the second power, just so I won't confuse the parentheses that are to receive the values with the parentheses around the whole expression before the exponent. The denominator in this expression is just 6, and so we copy. Now, in place of b, we have to fill in what it stands for, which is -5. And so we'll fill in -5. In place of a, we fill in its value, which is 4. We have now done the first step of our evaluation process, which is replace each variable with the number it represents. Now we're to follow the order of operations to simplify the result. We work inside parentheses. Inside the parentheses we have subtract and multiply. The multiplication is done first, and so we write -5 subtract 8 quantity squared divided by 6. We've done the multiplication. Then inside parentheses we have -5 subtract 8, which we're to work. -5 subtract 8 is -5 add -8, which is -13. Square the -13 and we get 169, because 13 times 13 is 169, and negative times negative is positive. And so our answer is 169 divided by 6, or, if you like mixed number form, 28 1/6. And so the final result is 169/6, or 28 1/6. Now let's do a second example. This one's got a little more excitement to it, hasn't it? Our second example is evaluate 3/4 xy, subtract x cubed times the expression y subtract x when x is equal to -1 and y is equal to 8. Evaluate 3/4 xy, subtract x cubed times y subtract x when x is equal to -1 and y is equal to 8. When we write the parentheses to receive each of the variables, we must write a set of parentheses for the x and for the y, and then the subtraction sign, and then parentheses for the x with its exponent, and then parentheses for the y and for the x. Inside a symbol of inclusion, I'm using brackets around that pair of numbers to avoid confusion. So let's fill in the numbers. In place of x, we write -1. In place of y, we write 8. Then the subtraction sign. In place of x, we write -1 with the cube outside the parentheses. And then in the brackets, we write the y, which is 8, subtract the x, which is -1. Now we must follow the order of operations to complete this work. Notice that we have symbols of inclusion with the brackets. We'll work inside the symbols of inclusion first. We have 8 subtract -1, which is 8 add +1, and that gives us 9. And so we have 3/4 times -1 times 8, subtract -1 to the 3rd power times 9. Now we have multiply, multiply, subtract, exponent, multiply. You know that the order of operations tells you to do the exponent first of this group, and so we work out -1 to the 3rd power. -1 times -1 is +1. +1 times the next -1 gives us -1. So -1 to the 3rd power is -1. Therefore we get 3/4 times -1 times 8, subtract -1 times 9. We now have multiply, multiply, subtract, and multiply. Multiplying, 3/4 times -1 gives us -3/4. So we have -3/4 times 8. And this next pair, -1 times 9, gives us -9. Then multiply and subtract. We multiply before we subtract. -3/4 times 8. The 8 is 8 over 1. And we can cancel. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 8 two times. And we get -3 times 2, which is -6 over 1, which is -6. -6, we have subtract -9, which means add +9. Therefore we get -6 add 9, and -6 add 9 is 3.